Hey, did you hear? They found lost books in the desert that are the real teachings of Christianity. Can you believe it? I mean, that's what some people say. But if that's true, if ancient scriptures were buried that change who Jesus really was, then we need to know. Not just emotionally, historically, we need to know. In 1945, a jar was discovered in an Egyptian desert near a place called Nag Hammadi. Inside were 13 leather-bound books, ancient texts, some of them called Gospels. And for decades, people have pointed to that discovery and said, see, the church hid these. So let's slow down. Let's open the jar. Imagine the scene. Upper Egypt, rural farmland. A farmer digging for fertilizer strikes something hard in the ground. He uncovers a sealed clay jar. Inside are codices, bound manuscripts written in Coptic, translated from earlier Greek writings. Over 50 texts, some with titles that immediately spark attention. The Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Philip, the Apocryphon of John. That one's fun to say. If you didn't know better, that sounds explosive because we recognize those names. Thomas, Philip, John, apostles. So the natural reaction is, did we miss something? Here's what these texts actually contain. Most of them reflect a belief system called Gnosticism. Gnosticism taught that the physical world is flawed, even evil. It taught that matter itself is a mistake. It taught that salvation doesn't come from forgiveness of sins, but from secret knowledge, hidden insight, spiritual awakening. You don't need a savior. You need enlightenment. Already, that sounds different. In many of these texts, the creator God of the Old Testament is portrayed not only as not holy and good, but as ignorant, even inferior. The true higher God is distant, hidden, and Jesus becomes a messenger who reveals secret knowledge to help certain people escape the material world. Not a redeemer who dies for sins. Not a risen Lord who restores creation. Now, that's not a minor doctrinal disagreement. That's a different religion. Now, here's something critical. When scholars dated these manuscripts, they were not from the 1st century. They weren't written during the lifetime of the apostles. Most of them originated in the 2nd or even the 3rd century AD. That means the 4 canonical Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, were already circulating for decades before these writings appeared. So, the timeline matters. These weren't original teachings buried early. They were later movements developing alongside Christianity. Competing ideas, not hidden foundations. And this is where I think we need to wrestle. Why does the Nag Hammadi discovery feel so destabilizing to people? Because the phrase lost scriptures triggers something in us. It makes us feel like truth was kept from us, like we've been managed, controlled, and in our age of suspicion, that narrative spreads quickly. But history doesn't support it. The early church didn't bury these texts out of fear. They rejected them because the theology didn't align with what had been handed down by eyewitnesses. That's discernment, not suppression. Now here's where this gets personal for me. Gnosticism sounds spiritual, deep, almost enlightened. Salvation through awakening. Freedom through knowledge. I lived in that world. Meditation, Eastern thought, the pursuit of hidden insight. And it feels powerful because it centers transformation on you. Your awakening, your understanding, your inner discovery. But Christianity makes a different claim. The problem isn't ignorance, it's sin. And the solution isn't secret knowledge, it's grace. Which message feels more comfortable? You already possess divine truth, just awaken? Or you are a sinner who needs rescue? One flatters the ego, the other humbles it. And maybe that's why Gnosticism keeps resurfacing in every generation, because it feels empowering. Christianity feels confronting. So what do the Nag Hammadi Scriptures actually teach us? They show us that early Christianity had competitors, that alternative spiritual movements tried to redefine Jesus, that not every ancient writing deserves equal authority, and that from the very beginning, believers were guarding a specific message: Christ crucified, Christ risen, salvation by grace, not enlightenment. Redemption. What strikes me most is this: the jar in the desert didn't reveal a hidden Christianity. It revealed how early Christians recognized a different one. And instead of blending everything together, they made distinctions, because truth requires boundaries. And if Jesus really rose from the dead, as the apostles claimed, then clarity matters. If you've been unsettled by the Nag Hammadi discovery, good. Questions aren't dangerous, but don't stop at the headline. Look at the dates, look at the theology, look at the difference, and then ask, which Jesus makes sense of history? Which Jesus deals with sin? Which Jesus actually saves? Father, if we've been confused by competing voices, steady us. If we've been drawn towards secret knowledge instead of your grace, correct us. Give us discernment without pride, clarity without arrogance, and lead us into the truth that doesn't flatter us, but frees us. So be it. May the truth set us all free.